Alright guys, welcome back. Hellscape Paranormal. So my name is Joseph, and today we're going to go over some of our gear. It's probably one of the most common questions I've seen since we started this channel, and also questions that we had ourselves when my wife and I decided to actually start doing paranormal investigation. What type of gear do we need to start off with? You can find out all kind of different information on this online. Everybody has their own particular type of gear they prefer, but a lot of it is also still the same. So let's go over the basics right fast. One would be a camera. Currently we're filming with one of our cameras right now. That is a action camera. That is a GoPro Hero 7 Black. We have the audio adapter, and we got a lav mic for it, and it's on a tripod. Tripods are one of your best friends, especially when you're setting up cameras in a room and something like that. You can actually stick it up there, run it, and everything else. Now with these cameras, you get these little tiny batteries. Usually about 40 minutes is what you're going to get off this battery, sometimes less. Just depends on if it's cold, if it's hot. I've had them zap really quick, so you want a lot of these. Now unfortunately these GoPro ones, about $20 a piece. So they do have some knockoff ones. We actually got some of the knockoff ones. They don't last as long, but mass amounts of batteries is always key. That's why we keep battery packs. This is the 20,000 milliamp hour battery pack. Charge these up. We got a bunch of these things because I also teach outdoor survival and stuff, and I have to have batteries out there in the woods. Running our cable directly into a camera that's set up in a room somewhere, also for the cameras that we are holding for our lights and things like that. These things are very important. Portable power, little battery banks. You can slide them in a vest, as you've seen in one of our videos. I'm wearing a vest. Put it in the pouches. My wife uses a drop down leg pouch. Put these in there, wire her cameras up and stuff like that with it. Makes it easy than having to change out batteries all the time. So let's go and get into some more of this gear. Okay, now I mentioned audio adapter. Now this here is a knockoff Rhodes. This is a Comic-Con. This is a shotgun mic for the action camera. It's got a selection for cell phone or camera. If you're using an action camera like a GoPro, you need to make sure it's on the camera setting. So this here works very well. We attach this to our mounts and everything for our cameras when we are walking and talking at the same time. This helps picks up a lot more. I don't use a lav mic when we do investigation because it pretty much isolates what I'm saying and not everything else. So we use these shotgun mics. All right, these things here, they're about $40. Not too bad. They do okay for audio. If you can afford a Rhodes mic and stuff like that, hey, that's probably one of the best ones I can recommend. But we use the Comic-Con and it works very well. So moving on, two-way radios. These things are freaking awesome, especially if you ever have to split up with your group. Having two-way radios is great. This is just a Midland. I think it's like 40 bucks for a set. You can get multiples of them too, you know, like 6 up to 8 I think it is on this particular brand. Having multiple radios, you can actually keep contact, especially if you're trying to investigate a larger area with multiple people. Makes life so much easier. So radios, if you're doing it by yourself, you won't need a radio. All right, we got a camera here. This is our camcorder that has IR. Now this does have a built-in IR in the flip open door here. It's a little light right here. But if you're going to be using IR, and IR gives you that white greeny look, when you add your filters, you can make it, clean it up with, you know, a green light. But an IR torch, that's what this here is. It's actually called IR torch. This thing here lights up a room so much better than just using that little tiny light that's on that door. All right, this door, I'm sorry, I'm probably not in frame. This door right here has this little tiny lens. That's your IR light when you're using this in IR mode. This torch, when you add this thing on, throw it all the way on, should be some red lights popping up there. It makes a huge difference. Now what we do with ours, we run a power mic. That's right here. It powers up. run a power mic on ours as well. We also have some brackets and stuff so we can actually move our torch and everything off the camera, you know, get everything opened up a little bit. And we can also add a regular light to our camera. Makes sense having good gear where you can actually hold on. We just ordered, there should be a pop-up there, we just ordered some new stabilizers and stuff for our gear. It makes things so much easier. You get more and more mounts available so you can actually attach more items to it. Makes it great. So this is a cheap IR camcorder. It takes SD cards, which is very important. That's what we use, micro SD cards on all of our equipment, everything from the action cameras to these SD cards. Same with our voice recorder. All our stuff uses micro SD cards. But this one here, I originally purchased this one, I don't know, about $130, I believe it was. And you can get them about 90 bucks on Amazon. They do all right. I mean, we have some footage there for you laying over. They do okay, you know, for the price. Now there are more expensive cameras out there, of course, but we've been using this one here and we get good results out of it. Haven't had no issues with them. So they do come with batteries, of course. These things are getting harder and harder to find. If you decide to go with one of these style camcorders, buy extra batteries. They do not last very long, but like this camcorder, you can actually power up with those battery packs and you can record while you're filming. Same with the action cameras, the GoPros, which makes everything so much easier. Being able to have a larger battery bank, these 20,000 milliamp hours, and you just plug your USB in and run your cords to your cameras, your lighting, stuff like that, makes a huge difference when you're trying to do this stuff. So let's move this and let's go ahead and get, okay, more GoPros. This is a Hero 6 action camera. These things are awesome. Like I said, having the spare batteries and stuff is very good. We also have spare charging station that you're able to charge up 2 of these batteries at a time. We run 2 off of solar generators when we go and do our investigation. That way we always have power and we always have the availability to power up our equipment. Because if you are running a GoPro with a Comic-Con mic, like this one right here, you now gave up your availability to run additional power to it. You have to survive off of these little batteries, because the power supply with the audio setting and everything else for the adapter for a GoPro uses the same port that you charge a GoPro with. So that's why we keep a lot of these batteries. Also, remote controls. This actually works with our camcorder. Saves you a lot of trouble fumbling with stuff at nighttime trying to hit the right settings in the dark. Camcorders are awesome. But these are the some of the adapters we actually use for our camera equipment. I mean, you can hook up, this here has 2. Loosen that up. Just tighten these down and you can attach what you want onto it. Like I can attach a light to that. I can attach the IR camera to IR light to that. I can attach whatever I want to on these. These things are great to have. They have many different ones. This here's a 2. I've seen the 3s. We didn't need a 3 yet because we actually have some new equipment pieces coming in. We already showed you that. So we got those coming in. I think it was worth the investment. They're about $40. I think we actually caught them on sale. They're usually about 50 bucks. And yeah, I can't wait for those to come in and make your life so much easier. Now, these cases, this is actually Harbor Freight Pelican cases. Okay, those there, I think that one there costs $44. This here costs about $14. We got a couple of those, but a more expensive equipment you want to protect. If someone drops it, stuff like that, you don't want things getting busted up. Now, shown cameras, how many cameras you have, that's entirely up to you. I do recommend a digital camera. This is a Canon PowerShot. This is an old one, but it works really well, and we've been using it for a very long time. It uses an SD card You can actually put the micro SD adapter if you're going to be using micro SD adapters. That's what we use for all of our camera equipment, keep it all the same. So yeah, this here for still shots and stuff, and also does recording as well. It's up to you on that one. Having a still shot camera, great idea, definitely recommend it. Next up is the K2 meter. This uses EMF fields is what it detects. Now there's many different types out there. This is just the standard one. There's no buzzers or anything else. It just gives you the lighting. Wait for a baseline. All right, wait for the baseline here. And this is for detecting EMF fields. Now, one of the things I've noticed with these cheaper ones, and they're about 26 bucks. If you bump it, you get a false reading. Just so you know, all right? So always be mindful of that. I don't like that the bottom's not entirely flat because it will fall over every single time. You got to lay it flat, which is kind of hard to deal with camera stuff. I might make a mount for it. That way it can sit flat when we're doing investigations. But a K2 meter is very important when you start out. That's about a about a $30 item there. Next up is our EVP recorder. There are many different types of digital recorders. I've even started with just a digital recorder app for my phone, but unfortunately I never got really good clear audio using my phone. And mainly I noticed that when I was trying to film videos with my phone. Didn't work out so well. This here, I believe it ran us 54 bucks on Amazon. It's a digital recorder. It's got massive amount of file space. You can save directly to the recorder itself, or you can use an SD card. This in here is a 128 gig SD card. So with that, let's see how many hours we'll get on far as recording goes. We're going to do a sample test. All right, so we will get 293 hours, 9 minutes, and 40 seconds with that. Now, that's pretty amazing. Uses the USB micro there. I think it looks like a C charger, actually, to charge this up. This thing works great. Let's see if I get to play it back here. All right, so let's see if we can think of anything else while we're out here. Ask this question. There. Yeah. Oh, that's the recording from our investigation. Who is the burning figure? Yeah, we haven't deleted our files. We got to do a dump of all of our files into hard drives, so you can save your footage and everything else. Next up, camera lighting. It doesn't matter what type of camera lighting you use. These I picked up at Best Buy. They're about 50 bucks a piece. Sorry, that's really bright, but they are adjustable. All right, so we use these for the GoPros and stuff, and sorry, that's another thing about those action cameras. They do have a setting for voice activation, and if you don't watch your pitch or the right words, it'll shut it down for you. But these here work super bright. They last a very long time. Simple on and off switch, dial on the back. You can charge this and give it an additional power supply. These right here, and run and operate them all night long with these additional power supplies. Now they do have a built-in battery system, but they won't last very long. Like on full, you might get 2 hours if you're lucky. Odds are not, but if you're using these battery packs, it makes your lights last so much longer. So when you got these things in your vest gear or your your leg pouch gears, whatever, or fanny pack, I don't care, and you got your wires running up to it and plugged in, you got instant battery power. I mean, it just lasts all night long. Now, moving forward, these are some of the more expensive ones, okay? We recently did a video, it's probably one of our first major videos, is a do-it-yourself REM-Pod. The parts alone in this is about 20 bucks. Uses a 9-volt battery. So with 20 bucks, you can build one yourself, but it only allows one amount of frequency. There's no additional settings you can do, but it's pretty sensitive. It really is. Okay, like I said, 20 bucks. We made this one ourselves, but we also have a store-bought one. Has a removable antenna. We don't have that for our do-it-yourself model. This is the REM-Pod here. We picked up on Amazon. It was $180. It is a very nice one. The antenna just screws right on. Makes it easier when you're packaging it so you don't break anything loose. Tighten that down. Now this particular REM-Pod, besides the sensitivity setting, it also has a temperature setting. It's got a range setting, it's got a temp setting, and you got a zero out button and stuff. It uses a 9-volt battery as well. Now the lights would change on the intensity of what's interacting with that antenna, but you can change your range for a more sensitive. Pretty cool. But now these here, like I said, run about 180 bucks. So when you're building your first gear, $20 worth of material, $180. I like the $180 model, of course I do, but when we first started, we were doing our do-it-yourself projects. We actually got a couple of these. It makes it so much easier if I'm trying to do multiple rooms, set up things in hallways and doorways, like cat balls and stuff. I don't have any cat balls right here with us. Cat balls, the motion sensor, they light up. If anything manipulates or things like that, they light up for you. So cat balls are nice to also have. But having these multiples for $20 a piece, you can set them out and they'll notify you if something's moving around in that area, especially going through a doorway. You can't beat that. So that's why we always use a lot of those. And of course, you know, these cases, you don't have to have them, but it's nice having a heavy duty case for your equipment, because this equipment's not cheap. It takes time to build up a lot of it, but the equipment I showed you here today would definitely get you started in the right direction. Now, one of the most important things, a lens cloth. Get you some of those alcohol wipes and lens cloths, because every abandoned building we've been into, I've gotten spider webs, dust, you name it, directly in my camera lens. I mean, within moments of stepping in. It happens. All right, so you want to always check your camera, always be cleaning it all the time. You will be. You'll be cleaning all the time, because when you go to use your footage and you see splots and smears and stuff like that, it's very annoying. It really, really is. Another thing, I don't have one sitting out here, is a headlamp. Okay, we carry flashlights. Of course, we always keep a flashlight on our side, and we always keep a headlamp on our head. Now, we always have two modes of lighting up stuff, no matter if any of our equipment fails, because we've actually had these big battery banks zap out on us. That's 20,000 milliamp and completely dead within moments. So when that's powering up your lighting and all of a sudden you lose all lighting and you're in a dark area, you want to have a flashlight. You definitely do. Have multiple ways of turning on light. You don't want to be stumbling around in the dark, because let's face it, most of these places we investigate, like abandoned buildings, homes, stuff like that, is deteriorating. You can get seriously hurt. So have lights. Always have lights, and always notify someone before you go on an investigation. All right, I want to recommend that before you go into an area, do some research on that place, check it out personally, take a look at the lay of the land, contact the owners. All right, you want to make sure you're able to work in that operation. All right, it makes your life so much easier not getting a trespassing charge. Okay, most people, they'll work with you, give them a couple $100 to let you investigate. Hey, you'll be amazed how fast money opens up doors when you're trying to work in the paranormal field and you're trying to do investigations of area, because a lot of these things are what they call locked down. Only they allow a certain type of group go in there and that's it. Well, we've opened up doors with a couple $100 and be able to do an investigation. So that's up to you. Keep petty cash on you. But make sure you notify somebody where you're going. You don't want to be one of those statistics on a horror movie. You go check out some abandoned place, you know, you don't know if it's haunted. It turns out it's even worse haunted than you ever thought. Everything from poltergeist to demonic stuff going on, and nobody knew that you went there. It'd be nice to have somebody, you know, at least find your body later on. Let's put it that way. Or let's say you have a medical condition. Let's say something happens to you. You're over there in an abandoned area. No one's going to be checking that place out. And you didn't notify anybody. That's one of the key things. You always let people know where you're going. Just like when we do outdoor survival on our other channel. Everybody that needs to know knows exactly where I'm going to be at, what my timeline is for my next designation on the map, how long I'm supposed to be there before I move on to my next spot. You work these plans out with somebody before you go do this by yourself. Now, I do want to encourage you, if you're planning on doing stuff like that, I do encourage you, you know, make sure you safeguard yourself. Don't just go in blindly, and don't be sitting there trying to piss off ghosts. Okay, because you might piss off something you didn't mean to. Okay, be respectful when you do this stuff. Be smart about it. Be prayed up, because you're dealing with a supernatural force. Do I encourage you to? Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of fun. It's very interesting to learn the history of an area and actually get a response for something. Now, one of the apps we use is known Spirit Talker. Basically, it's a ghost box. When you turn this thing on, it sweeps through a library that's built into this. Now, we turn off our airplane mode so we don't have Wi-Fi bothering us at all while we're in operation. Okay, that was just built off of what the database is, and it allows the spirits and stuff to pick and use certain words to communicate with us. And what we have to do is decipher it out if any of those words are making sense or not. Okay, that's our last investigation at the Bellamy Bridge. This is one of the ones we were using, and we got a lot of great responses. So this is an app for Android. That might be one for iPhone. Thing's great. The fact is, those Ovilus systems, they a used one is about $1,700, and I've seen them up to over $3,000. This here does work very well, and we use multiple different styles. We don't just use one. We go through multiples and see if we get hits off of each one, see which one's actually panning out more, things like that. So also we have the spirit box itself. This here runs through radio frequency, because an actual spirit box runs you about $90 on Amazon. This here is a app digital one. And we use this with our Etsy sessions. Basically, we use headphones plugged in while my wife is asking questions. I'm listening for a response. I cannot hear or see what she is saying. I cannot read her lips because I got a blindfold on. And whatever comes through this, I can hear. I say out loud. She knows if it's answering her question correctly. So it kind of weeds out a lot of fake hits when you do these. When you're doing an Etsy session, though, that is a major toll on your body, because you're getting that much closer connected with something. You just got to be ready for something like that, because when you do make real good contact with something, it can shake you. It really can. And of course, there are a couple more apps that we use. GhostTube, they have basically a spirit talker as well. And this one here also has a EVP, which works great, and you can record with this one. You can actually do recordings and stuff on this. And there's all kind of different ones here. They also have the voice box, which you can also record. It's kind of like a spirit talker. We go through all of these. We try multiple ones when we're doing an investigation. That way, we can't just say that one app keeps on giving us too much information. You know, let me try a different app and see if we're getting the same type of responses. Or if you're carrying a conversation with something, and you switch your apps and you're able to pick up the exact same conversation up with that one, that's when you really know you're onto something. And this one here is done by GhostTube. It is a SLS camera. Basically, I've had some good hits with it, and then I've had some faulty hits with it. It's where it shows a stick figure individual. Let's see here if I can get anything there. Yep, there we go. Yep, got stick figures already sitting over there. Yeah, a lot of false hits on that one. So you have to weed through a lot of your stuff. All right, sometimes an app is good, sometimes an app is, you know, not worth it. The Spirit Talker one, and also the Spirit Box one that we have. Works great, but we switch them up all the time just so we can see if they are reacting correctly, or have we run into an AI issue in the program that's misleading us. So we always double checking. So with this, I do encourage you, if you're interested in doing ghost hunting, hey, there's a lot of places you can go online. You can find a lot of great sites. If you want to start off small and, you know, go to local haunts and stuff like that, you know, you've heard about in your area, hey, I encourage you to it. You know, you don't have to get the exact same gear we use. Most of this gear is what other people use as well. So just wanted to show you what we use. We got some new gear coming in, which is going to be great. Having new gear, I love having new gear. New gear that you get to play around with is always awesome. One of the biggest things besides battery banks is batteries. Most of our equipment uses 9-volt batteries. It's K2 meter, our REM-Pods, just about our EMF detector. We have another digital EMF detector. It also does temperature. That uses a 9-volt battery. 9 volts is pretty much one of the biggest things I've seen with all this equipment. Keep them stocked up. Have a lot of extra batteries, because the last thing you want to be is during an investigation and your batteries die. Now, I will tell you this much. Every investigation we do, we change out that battery, because on the REM-Pods, I've noticed if that battery starts dying out, you'll get all kind of weird reactions, and you'll get a lot of false hits. So every investigation, we change out that battery. It does get costly. Batteries are not cheap, but you don't want miss hits. All right, guys, definitely appreciate you hanging out with me. Hopefully this gear helps encourage you a lot on what type of gear you need to go get. This is just the basics. There you can get so in depth with all this stuff. I mean, we got studio lights here. We have studio lights that we take to locations. All this stuff, static cams, all these things, extra cameras. I mean, we got a whole bunch of cameras that we operate with. So the biggest thing is taking all that information, all that video footage afterwards, and compiling it down to a video. Anywhere from 3 to 5 cameras, you're going to be spending about 14 hours on the editing floor. That's a lot, because you're watching every clip, every video, constantly looking at anything. And then you put it in the other camera and you start doing the exact same thing. Now you got to plan out how you're going to lay out your footage. Yeah, you're going to spend some time on it. All right, but don't let that discourage you. I encourage you. All right, guys, speak to you later.